Hello. Welcome to this webinar. Well, I guess it's just a web recording about the Virtual Economics 5.0 flash drive. This is being brought to you by FEP, the Financial Education Public-Private Partnership. And my name is Pam Wally, and I will be your fearless driver through the intricacies of the Virtual Economics 5.0 flash drive. Before we begin today, I would like to acknowledge that FAP is administratively housed at OSPI, and Olympia is in the ancestral and traditional lands of the Sasquatch Island people. Their native language is a southern dialect of Lushootseed. If you want to learn more about these people, go to the link I provided at the bottom of this slide, where there is a wonderful museum and an opportunity to learn more about our First Nations brothers. My name is Pam Wally. I'm Director of Financial Education at FEP. A little bit about me: I was raised in Indiana, which means I have one true religion, which is basketball. I wasn't being sacrilegious there, but it's pretty darn close in Indiana. I attended Indiana University for my BA, my master's, and my PhD work. And by the way, I attended IU and they had a basketball team. Not that I'm bitter that they don't have one anymore, but still, I did then. I moved to Western Washington University in 1985, where I was a faculty member until this last year, where I retired from Western. I'm the former director of the Center for Economic and Financial Education at Western, the former Washington Council for Economic and Financial Education president, and I'm currently the state administrator for the stock market game. So while I've gotten rid of a few hats, I've gained a few more. But if you want to contact me, you can contact me easily at K12 at pamwally.k12.wa.us. Our agenda today is for you to review how to navigate the VE flash drive. And this really, for reasons I don't understand, is very difficult. I mean, it's difficult for me too at times. I don't know why it was created so that it's so difficult to access these wonderful materials, but it is. Once I show you how to do it, you're going to go, oh, of course, that's easy. But until you see how it's done, it can be very challenging. I'm also going to show you through the flash drive, because I know if all I did was tell you how to access this flash drive, you look at this video and say, oh, exactly, that's how I would do it. And I will put the flash drive over here, and I will come back and look at it in that mythical time of when I have spare time. So we're going to spend just a little time acquainting you with what is on this flash drive. And there's a lot on this drive that you can use in your classes. You'll walk away with a working knowledge of the materials, and you can use these materials to help your students gain control of their financial lives. And you can also share these materials with your colleagues to help their students to learn more about economics and personal finance. First of all, I'd like to give you a brief overview of FEP and its history. You may not be aware of who we are. For years, people said this is Pam's organization, this is Tracy's organization, but it's more than that. FEP was created by an act of the Washington State Legislature in 2004, and it was a direct consequence of the governor's work group of I believe, 2002. And the governor's work group, which I was privileged to serve on, as was Lance of FIP, it recommended that this public-private partnership be created. In 2009, we changed the name to the Financial Education Public-Private Partnership. In 2011, we were successful in getting legislation passed that encouraged school districts to adopt the National Jumpstart Standards. We did this for a purely practical reason, and that is because virtually all personal finance curriculum are correlated to the Jumpstart Standards. Then in 2015, the legislation moved further. The legislation directed OSPI to integrate national Jumpstart standards into our state standards. And in 2016, as a result of this partnership with OSPI, we created, in partnership with OSPI, the Washington State Financial Education Learning Standards. Now, why did we go from Jumpstart to Washington State Standards? Well, it's because we discovered there was not one but two other sets of national standards that we needed to be aware of. One of them was from the Council for Economic Education, who ironically had been involved in the writing of the original Jumpstart standards, but then created their own. And then there were financial education learning standards created by the Fed. So what we did is we looked at all these standards and created a set of standards. It looks very similar to the standards in all the other disciplines here in Washington. Then in 2022, an amazing thing happened. The Washington State Legislature unanimously passed Senate Bill 5720. What did Senate Bill 5720 do? Well, it didn't require financial education across the state, which is something that many people have called for and that many people adamantly opposed. Why would they oppose a requirement? All too often, requirements are passed that are never implemented, or they are passed and they are not, and they become unfunded mandates. What 5720 did was to fund and to create a grant fund that districts across the state can apply for to incentivize them to increase the amount of financial education being offered in their districts. And this is a very unique approach, by the way. Most states either don't have financial education requirements, or they require financial education. We are incentivizing in this state districts to offer financial education. What do we do beyond encourage legislators to write and pass bills in support of financial education? What our vision is that FEP will provide students and educators with the knowledge and skills that they need to make sound life decisions, whether it be as students, consumers, employees, entrepreneurs, savers, investors, and individuals. We do this by identifying strategies to increase the financial education of students and providing quality financial education information for educators, schools, and districts, and by providing financial education, instructional materials, and professional development. Well, Virtual Economics 5.0 is one of those quality financial materials, and we're going to look at that today. Yeah, just a brief overview of what you'll get on this flash drive before we get into the nitty-gritty of it. The flash drive really has two drivers. One is economic concept driven. You can search through a number of economic concepts and find all kinds of information, including links to lesson plans on those particular concepts. So if you have a concept you want to teach, you look it up and you can see what's available there. Alternatively, you can browse economic lessons. There are 1,400 economics and personal finance lessons on this flash drive for grades K-12. Well, actually, I think it's 1,392, but well, let's not quibble. 1,400 is a lot of lesson plans. They have all been developed by the Council for Economic Education at the national level or one of their statewide affiliates.